We're joined by Ken Gichinga, the Chief Economist at Mentoria Economics here in Kenya. Ken, thank you very much for joining us. What's your expectation from the second Belt and Road Forum that's underway in Beijing?
Thank you for having me. I think this is a major opportunity for China to remind the world that the BRI initiative is really about global economic cooperation, because there have been some voices that suggest that it's a geopolitical play, it's a military play. So this is an opportunity for President Xi Jinping to really remind the world that this is all about greater economic cooperation and countries working together.
And speaking about greater economic cooperation, how is China helping African economies or countries realize their economic development agenda?
It's doing it in a variety of ways. Number one, it's opening up its domestic markets. You remember in Shanghai last year, there was a China import conference.
Export, yeah.
Exactly, and China was really saying to the world that we want to be importing more goods from the rest of the world. And from Africa, this means agricultural produce, tea, coffee, flowers, all the things that we export to Europe, China wants to have. So that can really support these, especially countries like Kenya, which have been traditionally looking towards Europe. This can present new market opportunities for such countries.
Right. And talking about infrastructure, what is it that African countries can do to ensure that such infrastructure projects benefit their citizens in a sustainable way?
Well, the important thing is to make sure that the loans that are coming to construct infrastructure are strictly directed towards infrastructure, because there has been some skepticism that some of this money gets into, via corruption, gets into private pockets. So countries don't realize the full gains of the infrastructure developments, yet have to service huge debt. So I think from a governance perspective, there's a feeling that we need to have tighter controls. We need to make sure that every cent that is got from Beijing is put into the actual infrastructure projects it was meant to.
Accountability. And what about the major economic challenges facing African countries that might be addressed using Chinese-led platforms such as the Belt and Road Initiative?
Well, if you look at globalization, what I call globalization 1.0, much of it has been centered around the West. And really, African countries never really felt they were part of that globalization. What we have now is an opportunity for greater South-to-South cooperation. So more African countries feeling they're part of a new globalization via connections of roads and railways and airports and bridges. That might lead to the world to feel that finally we are approaching more balanced growth. Finally, the benefits of globalization can be enjoyed by every country and not just a few countries. And possibly inequalities might actually start reducing between countries.
All right, Ken, thank you very much for that. Ken Gichinga, Chief Economist at the Mentoria Economics here in Kenya, speaking to us.